No more overtime? Okay, boss. Whatever you say. Years ago, I used to work for a plastic injection company in my hometown. It wasn't a huge company, but they had 2 plants in my state, 2 in 2 other states, 1 in the UK and 1 in Germany. So not small either. It was a 24-hour production facility, which means the machines run 24/7, except from December 23rd to January 2nd. I was one of 2 delivery drivers who moved finished product from the plant to a nearby warehouse and brought raw materials and packaging supplies back to the plant. On a good day, I'd get 5 back-and-forth trips done in a 12-hour day. On my last run back to the warehouse, I'd always go around to the floor people and make sure they had what they needed to make it. Through the night, driver was the only floor position that wasn't 24 hours, so that nothing would shut down. Well, sometimes they would forget something, and after my last run, I'd have to go back. I wasn't complaining. I got an hour or 2 of overtime every few shifts, and everything ran fine. One day, my supervisor pulls me aside and says I need to stop taking overtime. I explain why, and he doesn't care. No more overtime. I say okay, and we go on with our day. Near the end of my next shift, I am 15 minutes shy of being able to clock out, and I'm just finishing packing up the truck to do the next morning run, when one of the floor people comes over and tells me he forgot something. I say sorry, no can do. I'm not allowed any more overtime to go and pick up the material. Apparently, if I didn't do it, 3 machines would shut down overnight. If any of you have ever worked in plastic injection, you know those machines get so hot they melt the plastic being injected. If they have no material flowing in them, they have to get shut down, or they will get too hot. It can take hours for them to cool down, and they have to be started from a cold state when you go to reboot them. So if it runs out of material, production has to stop. The machines has to take about 12 hours to cool down, and then heat back up. This is all very unfortunate, but I've got to follow orders. So I clock out and go home. The next morning rolls around, and I am called into the plant supervisor's office. He is my supervisor's boss, and is one of the owners of the entire company. He is shaking mad because, just as my coworker predicted, 3 machines shut down overnight and were going to be out of commission until nearly 2 p.m. that afternoon. He was going to fire me on the spot, but gave me a chance to explain myself. When I told him what I used to do, and what my supervisor had told me to do, he let out a big sigh and told me to go back to the floor, and that if I need to take overtime to keep machines from going offline, to just do it from now on. Shortly after that, my supervisor was called into his office. Unfortunately, he is the son of one of the other owners, so they didn't fire him. But I never got yelled at about overtime ever again.